Yeah, it was really difficult. It was incredible. It's one of the hardest parts I've ever played. We did try and shoot it as chronologically as we could, so that so that we at least kept the main parts of the journey in. How do I even explain this? In its little segments together. Yeah.
But initially, we had, the first AD had scheduled the confrontation scene in the second week, and I was like, no way are we going there? So yeah, we were trying to look after you.
And we also wanted, Noah and I we spent a long time getting to know each other and being very kind with each other, and we tried to do all of the lovely stuff first. and as we went on, we realised how, and we protected Noah very much through the whole process. A lot of dialogue was changed completely for when it was his take, so that he didn't get a lot of that bad language.
We did kind of go, ah!
Yeah, but he was okay with that. Yeah, we did still scare him. I mean it in a kind way.
We were also really lucky enough that we were able to build a set, so we shot the film in Adelaide at the Adelaide Studios, and just to have that flexibility of being to schedule those scenes in the house just made a huge difference to us. We couldn't have shot the film like that if we had to be on location, just on the budget that we were on. So that was a huge help.
It would have been impossible in a real house.
I guess the mythology and the story was brilliant, and I wanted to know, for pre-production and post-production, how you decided on what special effects to use to where it would distract from the story.
Are you up there? Are you up? Where are you?
Right here.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. I've forgotten your question, sorry.
Yeah, so the mythology and the story were brilliant. And I just wanted to know, for the pre-production and post-production of the film, the special effects that you added to it, how did you decide on that to where it didn't distract from the mythology?
I was really adamant because of anyone who knows this kind of childlike pop-up books and a lot of the German expressionist stuff. It has a very handmade quality to it, and to be faithful to that and get the tone of that through the film, I really didn't want to use any special effects at all. And so the only stuff we have here is smoothing post stuff. So if something looked it didn't look good enough, then we had to smooth it out, which is a natural process now in film. But nothing there is not, everything's done in camera. We had a wonderful post, company that helped us to make it much more perfect.
So have you burned the costume then for the Babadook?
Who knows where that is? It might be under your bed. Yes, Helen.
Is there going to be a part 2?
No! Definitely not. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to direct it. Directed by Michael Bay. Babadook.
Hello. I'm glad you talked about the repression. I'm a psychotherapist. So my comment to my friends here were, see what unresolved grief and mourning is?
Yes, and it's interesting, because Noah, the little boy, his mum's a child psychologist.
Wow.
Yeah, and we became good friends, so interesting. She really supported the message of the film. She was there the whole time, and we negotiated everything with her. She was so great, such a beautiful person, really supportive.
And also, like after each take, particularly if there was a very confronting scene with Noah and I, we did have a lot of cuddling And you know, it was all what we were pretending to do that day. We were playing, doing acting.
Yeah.
How old was the game?
He was 6, he just turned 6.
So I nearly had a nervous breakdown. But no, he's very gifted, little boy.
Monsters and childhood are called different things around the world. I was just wondering, is the Babadook something that is exclusive to Australia, or is it a thing of imagination?
It's a good question. It's exclusive to me.
Okay.
No, I really wanted a name that sounded like a gobbledygook name, you know, that sounded made up and that a child had possibly made it up, and that people didn't associate with anything. And I wanted something that could rhyme, and you know, it just dropped in one day, and then I played around with it, and I thought, oh, that's good. Onomatopoeic. Yeah.
So a couple of really quick statements, and then a potentially sensitive question. First, I'm an only son raised by a single mother, so nailed it. I'll just say that, you know, in many, many ways. And thank you for the shout out to Mario Bava in the film as well.
You're welcome.
He's one of my favorite directors, yeah, and No Days and all that cool stuff. But what I'm curious about is I write for a major horror magazine, and I'm deeply immersed in the horror film scene. And there's a big movement, quote unquote, the women in horror, and I have my own views on that. But I'm wondering what your line is on that, and is it more difficult for a woman to not only make a film but a genre film and be taken seriously?
Yeah, I haven't experienced difficulty. And I don't. I mean, obviously I'm a woman, but I don't kind of think of myself in the sisterhood. I don't kind of go, yeah, everyone, let's get together and make women films. I'm not being facetious in that. I just don't. I don't have much concern with what others are doing, apart from my friends who are filmmakers, etc. But I just really wanted to stay true to my vision with this film, and I have an amazing producer, and really couldn't be made without her. And I was very protected by Christina. She really protected the story, protected my vision, and without that, couldn't have been made. But in Australia, anyway, do you think? I mean, I've never experienced, maybe a bit with the, I never experienced any kind of sexism. Well, except for the sexism that exists in the world. What? I think you know, there are a lot of women that love horror. You would know this, yeah. And
I mean, personally, I think it's kind of a myth, though.
That they love it?
And I don't judge artists.
No.
That's.
I think it's a little bit.
I'm a little outspoken about all of that.
Yeah. I've not encountered anyone saying you can't make a horror film because you're a woman. No, never.
It's probably the opposite, actually. I think
Yeah.
there's interest and support.
I agree.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
I always put the lighting around like I have a Pinot.
Yes,
You know.
yeah.
So I'm wondering how you decided on the happy ending instead of the sad ending. You know, the boy who died.
Yeah. It wasn't so much, you know, sad ending or happy ending. But for me, the film is a love story, and it's a love story between a mother and a son. And the mother has to go through hell to get there. And for me, I didn't want to make a film I'm not interested in making a film that didn't head towards the light. And I couldn't, it was just what idea felt resonated with me, was that the Babadook is part of Amelia, and she couldn't kill it, and to kill her child would be, you know, obviously the end of it. And for me, it's important to integrate whatever our Babadook is and keep going. And it's a happy ending. It's not an easy one, is it? Really. Not for her, I don't imagine.
Yeah, I just wonder, so I think it's funny watching it that when you watch horror, a natural response is to laugh.
Yeah.
And so I wondered for you what it's like to watch it back with an audience. Is it satisfying?
It was terrifying last night on our premiere because so much is riding on it. I felt like projectile vomiting. But tonight, you were really, I could feel you. We snuck in about 3/4 of the way through, and I really, got a kick out of hearing you relate to the film. And whatever response comes, is fine by me. I mean, fear treads a fine line, between being funny and being terrifying. And I think that, sometimes people laugh. And they scream and then they laugh because they're embarrassed. No, it's a joy. It's really a joy.
Yeah, I actually thought it was so fantastic. I came in around the telephone call, and I was like, oh wow, they haven't gone there yet. And when you guys started screaming and jumping up and down out of your seats, I was so stoked. One more, yeah.
So I'm curious if the boogeyman is something that, right when I heard the name Babadook, and I saw him and I thought, she knows the boogeyman. Is that a character in Australia that is something?
No, I think that it's something that is in all of us. I think, this primal fear of what's under the bed or in the cupboard, it never really goes away. We kind of become more civilised and sort of pretend to be a bit more grown up. But there's always that sort of primal fear of the boogeyman,
I just wanted to say, I love the old lady, her character.
Yeah.
And that it was almost like he couldn't touch her. I kind of like that aspect.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, people, when they read the script in development, some people said, wow, that woman must have a really horrible mother. And my mother's closer to Mrs. Roach than anything else. So, yeah, I love that character.
Thank you so much.
Thanks everyone. It's really lovely to be here.